is up, YouTube fitness family? Got a very exciting video for you today. For the very first time, I'm going to be using EMG stimulatory pads to test how much stimulus we're driving with different movement patterns. So the way this stuff works is I'm going to be hooking up 4 different sensors today on my lats, and we're going to test 8 different pull down variants. So different grips, different bars, to test how much stimulus I'm gonna get in my lats. So I'm gonna basically try to equate for tempo, weight, and range of motion so that I don't get skewed results by doing something heavier or something lighter. A few disclaimers, obviously, we don't quite know yet if EMG is one-to-one with hypertrophy, so this is just gonna test like, are my lats on? But if my lats are like really firing on a certain exercise with the same weight, I think we can deduce that lats are going to be growing more with that handle. So without further ado, let's get to testing. All right, so the technology I'm using is called Mr. EMG. It's a newer technology, and the benefit of this technology is it tests total response over the full course of a repetition. So it's not just testing peak contraction, because the problem with that is it's not testing that eccentrically load where obviously we know that a lot of hypertrophy happens. So what we're gonna do is test for total stimulus over a 10 rep set. So instead of just being like, okay, what's the most for 1 rep? We're gonna go for 10 reps so we can have a little bit more data. We're gonna equate for weight. I'm gonna use, I think I put on there 160, which is like a pretty good weight for me to really control it. Definitely not close to my top end, but we could probably do that in another video, but I wanna make sure that form stays really consistent across all of this data. So the way this works is I'm gonna stick this 4 sensors across my whole lat, from upper lat kind of close to my teres, all the way down to lower lat. And the way it works is when you have it engaged, it will test. So the harder I flex here, harder the neural response. So obviously you see it's pretty low here because I don't have any weight, but you'll see these really spike as I continue to use it on my lat. So I'm gonna have Phil hook me up. The biggest thing, I don't want Phil to tell me any of the results as I am doing the reps, because I want to be completely surprised by the results. Also, I don't want to tweak my form to try to get a little bit more of a advantageous result for a grip that I tend to like and use a lot, because it's going to kind of crush me if my grip, my favorite lat grip is like the one that gets the worst neural response. So we'll see, man, but I'm super excited for this. I hope you guys are as well. So let's get to rating these 8 different grip variants. All right, we got the most classic of them all to start. We got the lat pull down bar. I'm gonna test 2 different grips. I'm gonna test right on where it bends, and then I'm gonna test widest I can go. So I think a lot of people say you go really wide. Some people say right at the bend. So I'm gonna test both and see what works best for me. So we're gonna go 10 reps, try to keep the tempo. We're trying to go down, like a 1 count, like just explode down within reason. 1 count, slight pause, like half-second pause, and up on a 4 to 5 count, 1 pause on the stretch. So here we go. 2, 4, 9, and up. 2, 3, 4, 10. I've never found like lat pull down bar to be my favorite. I do tend to feel like I can't get enough of that lat engagement because my elbows are a little bit too flared. I think I'm gonna get even more of that experience on the wide grip. Not a terrible grip. It's definitely has a lot of efficacy and it's usually what's in most gyms. So it'll be interesting to see how it stacks up against something that's a little bit more nuanced, like a kind of more of a mag grip that you would see with kind of a little bit more ergonomic, which I'm hoping is the best because that's what I use the most, but don't want to throw any biases on here quite yet. All right, so now I'm going as wide as this grip can go. A lot of people will insinuate that going wider on the grip will get more lat emphasis because you're just farther out from your body. We'll see if that's actually the case. 2, 3, 4, 10. Whew. Just off the get, it looks like it's a little lower, right? So I think that the reason for that is because you're so far away. For me specifically, remember everybody's body ergonomics are different, but for me being so far out, I'm not able to really lock in and get those lats on. Whereas that's why I feel like when we get later, even though the grip's gonna be narrow, if I get a nice fucking supinated grip and really get to squeeze and lock those lats into place and retract the scap, I think I'm gonna get a lot better outcome. So, not super surprised. We'll see how it stacks up when we actually accumulate the data and see where this one falls. Now we're gonna flip the grip. It's called supinated. So this is pronated, this is what we had the first 2. Supinated, I think it's gonna elicit a little better response because I can keep those elbows a little closer to the body. I've never really been a huge fan of this one just because I think there's more ergonomic grips that can elicit the similar response, but we'll see. I think this one's gonna be a lot higher than either the mid grip lat supinated or the super wide grip. So that's my guess, but we'll see how it ends up turning out. Squeeze up, 2, 3, 7. Now that I think about it, with this grip, I do feel a lot of biceps and front delt. So it could be that I was doing a lot more work with my biceps with this variant. I was trying to really focus on the lats, but I think the grip might be too narrow so that it ends up, you pull a lot more with the biceps. That's why this actually is a really good bicep building movement, especially at heavier weights. So I was wrong. We'll see how much more wrong I continue to be as this progresses, but this could be very eye-opening. It's something I'm gonna use in my own training for sure. Switching over to probably most people's favorite pull-down grip, V grip. I think this one's gonna be very good. I've been wrong in this analysis before, so we'll see if this actually equates to more neural drive in the lats themselves. This could really also equate to a lot of mid-back, like spinal erectors, also like rhomboids. So we'll see if this actually hits the lat super hard. Oh my God, it looks tiny. It looks like lower lats actually got a little bit more of a stimulatory response than kind of more of the right up towards the armpit, towards the teres. Surprising. I felt like I got a really good lat pump on that, but we'll have to test that. I think the best one so far for lats has actually been the astutely titled lat pull down bar. So I'm excited to test the mag grips as well. Kind of slightly supinated or slightly pronated, narrow. So we'll see how those stack up against the more traditional gym bars.
Tired of generic fitness plans that never get you results? Say goodbye to the guesswork with my one-on-one coaching. It offers personalized strategies for maximum results and sustainability. Ready to elevate your physique? Fill out an application today. Link in the description.
All right, so we have the Yi Huang grip. Is that how I say that? So it's why I actually bought these for the gym. They're probably my favorite grips to use for back. So I'll be super disappointed if they have shitty ass readings for lats. But you guys will probably know these for mag grips. They're kind of the ones that made it super popular. But this is also a great brand too. Get them on Amazon. I'm not affiliated, so just get them because you know that I like them. That's what I was thinking. I was thinking especially through that mid to lower lat, I was gonna get some pretty intense readings, and I was right. So what was happening was just because that supinated grip, very ergonomic, so it's not completely, so it just goes all the biceps. It's enough that I'm able to keep the elbows here and not here, because you tuck them too much, and obviously you're gonna lose that stimulus. So I felt the pad just fall off my back, so we're gonna get new stickers, re-stick these bad boys on there. All right, now we're gonna flip this grip around. We're gonna go pronated bias, so the hands are gonna be slightly tilted away from ourselves instead of supinated. I think this is gonna go a little bit more like upper back bias, more upper lat, so we'll see. Whew. Hard to kind of tell, actually very even readings. With this one I use a lot to work that mid back, right along my spinal erectors, just because I feel a lot of engagement through almost a lower mid back. So I'm not surprised. It doesn't look like the readings were jumping off the charts. This is a neutral grip. Tends to be one of my least favorite for whatever reason. I just don't love it. But it has a nice neutral grip, which tends to work really well ergonomically for a lot of people. For me, I just don't like how wide it is, but also I don't really get as much stretch bias. So we'll see how it reads out. I'm gonna try to be as objective as possible and just do the reps as effectively as I would try to be doing if I was trying to get a great workout. So we'll see how it goes. 10 reps. 9. Apologize for the lighting changes. Bradley is doing a fitness video in his gym, his rules. So that one actually, I felt a lot of spinal erectors again. So I think this actually could be a really good mid-back. Surprisingly, it was lighting up all 4 sensors pretty evenly, but with a bias towards the bottom too. So I think what we're kind of deducing is neutral to supinated, you're gonna get a lot better lower lat bias, whereas you're wider pronated, you're gonna get a little bit more of that kind of right up towards that upper lat, right where it meets the armpit. So I think what we kind of deduce is use different grips to elicit different responses in different parts of the lat. So yeah, I think it's just gonna have to do a lot with your form, but I'm gonna take this data, we're gonna take it to the creator himself, who's been helping me with starting to kind of learn how to use the software. And so we're gonna take it to him, and he's going to come back to us with the answers of what is the most effective based on the data we collected today. So I will see you back at Mikasa with the results.
EMG is a technique used to measure electrical signals, action potentials, and muscle fibers. So the signals are the result of electrical excitation of the muscles by the motor control systems of the nervous system, transmitted to muscles by motor nerves. So motor action potentials, this is very important, motor action potentials, which EMG measures, trigger muscle contractions by a process known as excitation contraction coupling. So on the EMG, at a contraction phase, you're going to see the highest amplitude in the signal. At the stretch phase, because action potentials trigger muscle contractions, when the muscle's lengthened out, you're going to see the lowest amplitude. So EMG just simply acts like a voice for the muscles and lets us see how the nervous system is stimulating them. So then if we look at the volume of muscle activity, so now we're adding up all the concentric, eccentric, and isometric muscle activity over the 8 reps. These findings are quite interesting. So the neutral grip bar created the highest lat contraction volume over 8 reps. So you might get a peak contraction for the amplitude on the wide grip, but obviously you had more eccentric activity with the neutral grip bar, which is very interesting. I have trouble pronouncing this, the Yixan.
Yeah, that's a good one, E1.
E1, it's a complicated word. Supinated created the highest mid-lat contraction volume, which is interesting, and the neutral grip bar created the highest lower lat contraction volume. So I think what the data shows, your lats work great across a variety of exercises. It shows the importance of mixing up grips, because some grips are going to create higher peak amplitudes, which is very important for muscle contraction. Other grips are going to create bigger eccentric phases in portions of the lats. I mean, it's great insight for you. Something you could work on from the starter. And what I love with you though, Eric, just about on all exercises, is that your eccentric phase, the eccentric muscle activity as you go during the reps gets bigger and bigger and bigger. And the insight I got, you embrace the loading, man. You embrace that pain. You can really amp up the eccentric phase of the muscle activation as you go during each set. And you did that on every single set that you tested on. I found that quite incredible.
Awesome. Well, we have a lot more tests for you guys, and Rowan will be making more appearance on the channel. But if you guys are interested in this type of data for yourself, you guys can visit the website, their website, and their Instagram. I'll link those both in the description below. But very excited about our continued partnership and trying to give you guys the best information possible to maximize your workouts and be as safe as you can while doing so. So Rowan, thank you again, and this will be
very welcome.
Many conversations.
Okay, in 7th place and very dead last, while I don't feel like it's a terrible option, I just feel like based on the data and what we know about ergonomics, the supinated close grip gave us a lot of bicep bias. It didn't peak as high in either peak contraction or in sustained contraction for any of the mid lat, lower lat, upper lat. So for that reason, I just feel like it's an okay exercise. But if you're really trying to focus on your lats, that super supinated position is going to be a lot more biceps and front delt. In number 6, we are going to have the wide grip narrow. So instead of it being the V grip, it's the one with the bar with the neutral grip. The reason for that is it just puts you in a little bit of precarious positioning. It didn't allow me to get really good peak contraction, and also felt a little weird on the stretch. It's not a bar I love, and the data also showed that. So I feel like if it feels good for you, everybody's different, everybody's ergonomics are different. So if you love that bar, go for it. But for me, the data did not show that it was a top exercise or top grip for me. In 5th place, we are going to have the pronated bias Yi-Wan grip. So that kind of more ergonomic style handle. The reason I have it in 5th is because, first of all, the data was kind of congruent with that, but it also, just being kind of pronated here, this allowed me from getting that really good scapular retraction, peak contraction, also that huge stretch and that emphasis in the lats as I'm at the top. I kind of lost a little bit of that lat emphasis, so I think that's why it came in for 5th for me. Number 4, we have the V grip. One of my favorite grips growing up, honestly. I think it's a very serviceable grip. It would actually peak the highest for our mid lat. So we're in that meaty part of the lat. It actually gave us the highest contractile response based on data. The reason I have it in 4th and not 3rd, which is going to be the Yi1 slightly supinated grip, because with that grip, I can really load a lot more weight and feel peak contraction, also a huge stretch. Just with that slight supinated bias, I get a really, really big stretch in the lat at the top of the rep. But as we know, the EMG data is not really gonna show that top level contractile response in the stretch position. It's only gonna tell us more contractile response as we pull and as we do the eccentric portion. So for that reason, it's going to get number 3 for me. Number 2 is going to be the widest grip on the lat pull down bar. So we did right where it bends and then at the widest grip. The reason I think this is such a great exercise, and it actually peaked at the highest lower lat contraction. So the reason for that is because we were able to really dig down and pull and have our hands nice and wide, which gave us, and that pronated grip allowed us to keep the emphasis in the lats and then a big stretch to the top. I think it's obviously not a newer age bar, but I think it's very serviceable for growing your lats. It really keeps you from using too much biceps, and because if you're not pronated or supinated, it disallows you from kind of pulling too much with the front delt and biceps. It really forces you to isolate through the lats. So that's number 2 for me. Number 1 for me is where the bar bends. I think if you can keep it closer to the midline, for me, I can drive a lot more weight, a lot more stimulus. This had the highest upper lat, so right here in that upper lat, we get that big X frame look. It gave us the highest contractile response on the EMG readers. So that is going to be my number 1 go-to for growing, especially upper lats and building out that X frame. So I hope you guys love this type of content. I'm gonna continue doing more testing, get more scientific than last time. Like, subscribe for more of this content. Comment below if you're enjoying this stuff. Without further ado, I will see you on the next video.